an abandoned car,
She said, do you know I could kill you and your family right now?
a messy breakup, and a missing woman rocked a small Georgia city in 2011.
Something is not right about this whole story.
Until 7 years later, when police receive a harrowing 911 call.
She bleeding real bad. Somebody stabbed her.
I was in room 214. I heard screaming.
The broad one right by me with the knife and everything.
Are you
soaked in blood? That's not mine. Yes.
And investigators learn the two women may have one major thing in common: their lover.
I said, if you decide to shoot me, you make sure my black is dead.
Fool authorities once, shame on you. Fool them twice, good luck with that.
Let me see your hands. Hands.
The penalty is death.
Get your family out of here.
Why me?
I will have my attorney call you.
So unbelievable.
In December 2018, police officers in DeKalb County, Georgia, receive a tip from a woman who claims her girlfriend is planning to murder her estranged wife. Then, just a few days later, police receive another call.
I think there's a stabbing. Can you send somebody immediately, officer? He's walking on the back side.
We're sending someone.
A man at a Motel 6 in Conyers, Georgia, sees a woman leaving room 114 with blood on her hands.
One lady's walking back to the wood, and she's making turns.
Witnesses track the assailant and her vehicle as far as their eyes can see to give officers a head start on what they can only assume will be a manhunt.
Which way is pulling out? To the left. Okay, that's a lady. It's a black Nissan. I cannot see the tag. It's a black car. Black Nissan. Black Nissan.
Meanwhile, other guests rush to aid the victim, who has fallen over the threshold of her motel room. She's covered in blood and barely able to speak.
She was bleeding real bad.
Okay.
Somebody stabbed her.
Where is she bleeding from?
I think from the chair.
Police and rescue dispatched to the motel, hoping to get there in time to save her.
Okay, where is she?
But it's hard to tell what her future holds. When paramedics arrive, they can see the victim has been stabbed over 30 times in the chest, torso, and legs.
She's bleeding profusely from the abdomen.
She's alive, but her injuries are severe. She has lost a lot of blood, and she is floating in and out of consciousness, making it hard for police to get information out of her.
98 radio. She's in and out of consciousness, breathing pretty heavily at this time. I know you hurt. I know, honey. But I've got lots and lots of help and lots of people that are going to come help me with you, okay?
Luckily for law enforcement, the victim isn't the only witness to her attack. Several hotel guests heard screaming, and a few even saw the assailant leaving the scene.
I was in room 214 with a friend of mine. I heard her screaming. We come down, and I asked the lady before she was really going out, I said, is this your dog? She said, no. I said, does it belong to the lady that hurt you? She said, yes. It has rabies tags and everything that could probably trace her or whatnot. I don't know.
Okay. We got the car.
Okay.
According to passersby, the attacker didn't try to conceal her identity. She was wearing a hat, but left her face uncovered.
I heard her say she tried to kill me. When she said that, the broad walked right by me. But I'm tripping because she still got the knife out.
You got baby girl in the room.
Right.
When I first heard the screams, you know, if you're in a motel, you're thinking sex. That's what I thought because they weren't that loud, and I heard thump thump. Then they were getting louder, and I heard the dog. But I heard the dog, and I knew it was coming from the room. So I caught the dog, and I come back to her. She was kind of in and out of consciousness. I said, ma'am, what's your name? She said, Roz.
Roz, listen to me. You've got to hold still for me, okay, sweetie, until I can get some help here, okay?
Even with so many stab wounds to the chest, the woman is determined to share two crucial pieces of information with police. Her name, Rosalyn Lewis, and the name of her attacker.
Who did this?
Joyce.
Joyce?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know Joyce's last name? Pelzer?
42-year-old Joyce Marie Pelzer. Lewis and Pelzer are married, but their relationship isn't hunky-dory. In fact, it's just about over. Lewis has been staying at the Motel 6 after leaving the allegedly abusive relationship and has apparently had a restraining order against Pelzer for months.
My wife is here in town. She threatened me a few weeks back here.
Your wife?
Yes, my wife.
Okay.
A few months ago, I left my wife. She was cheating. Long story short, I left, turned off everything, and the woman that she was involved with said that when I turned everything off, she went ballistic and saying how much she hated me. She wanted to knock me off and kill me and all this other. And that next morning, when she got up and I was up, she was talking again, and I was like, Joy, the marriage is over. And she jumped up and she said, so she had her hand behind her back, she said, do you know I could kill you and your family right now? I told her, I said, if you decide to shoot me, you make sure my black is dead. Make sure I have no breath left in my body, because if you don't, I won't get you back.
That was in August, when Lewis made the reports against her wife. And the other woman Pelzer was allegedly involved with, who cautioned Lewis about how angry Pelzer was? She's the same woman who called police just days before the stabbing, warning them of Pelzer's alleged plans to kill Rosalyn Lewis.
Are you
Soaked in blood that's not mine? Yes.
I don't know how bad it is. It doesn't, from here visually, I don't see a whole lot.
Just on my like lower half, and she was grabbing my arms, just soaked in blood.
Okay.
She was just, I mean, she was terrified.
Sure. I mean, I'd be terrified too.
As time passes, the likelihood that Lewis will survive the attack only decreases. Paramedics rush her to a nearby hospital, but her injuries are too severe. 47-year-old Rosalyn Lewis dies on December 10, 2018. But Lewis held true to the promise she made to Pelzer. Until there was no breath left in her body, she would get Pelzer back. And she did, by making sure everyone knew who did this to her.
Roz, I need you to keep breathing for me, okay? You said it's Joyce? Yes. Do you know Joyce's last name? Pelzer?
Got a Joyce Pelzer, P-L-Z-E-R. I don't have a date of birth.
I don't know who registered here. So is it Joyce?
They say the suspect is Joyce, apparently.
With a name from the victim, a physical description from witnesses, and the make and color of the getaway vehicle, the search for Lewis's killer is already well underway. Largely thanks to Motel security footage that captured nearly every moment before and after the attack. On December 8th, just 2 days before the attack, it appears Joyce Pelzer checked into her own room. There is more than an hour of footage showing Pelzer standing in the lobby, walking the first-floor breezeway, and driving her black Nissan through the motel parking lot, over and over again. Just after 10 a.m. on the day of the attack, Rosalyn Lewis can be seen pulling up to the motel in her black Toyota Camry, a different vehicle than the one Pelzer is seen driving. Lewis puts the car in park, then gets out. She doesn't know it yet, but this is one of the last times she'll ever be seen by anyone outside the motel. Then, around 10:34 a.m., motel guests hear screaming coming from room 114. Security cameras capture motel guests approaching the room. Just 1 minute later, at 10:35 a.m., Pelzer, in her black hat and gray jacket, can be seen exiting room 114. Lewis is still inside. That's when Pelzer makes a beeline for the parking lot, leaving a trail of blood behind her. Seconds later, Lewis falls onto the threshold, and the dog one witness described can be seen chasing Pelzer down the sidewalk. As Lewis tries to save her own life, Pelzer gets into her vehicle and speeds out of the parking lot. Security cameras capture her making a right turn onto the highway, as a brave witness follows her, dials 911, and reports everything he sees to the dispatcher.
I cannot see the tag. It's a black car. Black Nissan.
Shortly after 911 is called, police officers locate a vehicle matching the description of Pelzer's Nissan leaving the area where the stabbing took place. There are 2 black female passengers inside, and police assume they have their suspect in arm's reach.
It is occupied by a female. Hey, let me see your hands.
I'm going to take one person out of the vehicle at each time. Unlock the door. All right, put your hands in the air. Hands in the air. Turn around. Uber driver. Okay, step back here.
Keep your hands up, guys.
Okay, relax. We can get it figured out in just a second.
Okay, well, she's claiming that this girl is a Uber driver that picked them up, and that they got picked up from America's Best and never stopped by Motel 6. So they're just wrong place, wrong time?
Yeah.
Okay.
When the officer runs the plate number and the passenger's identification cards, none of the information comes back as a match.
We're coming from an area where an incident just occurred. Your vehicle was given as a description. It came out as a black Nissan passenger car driven by a female, so that's the reason why you were stopped and handcuffed, okay?
While officers uncuff the innocent people on the street, Joyce Pelzer is somewhere out there, possibly under the assumption she's gotten away with it. Again.
Did you know that your personal data is being harvested and sold online by data brokers? Anyone can buy your personal details. When this happens, you're at risk for a whole host of things like identity theft, becoming the target of phishing scams, potential stalking, and honestly, a ton more. And that's why I'm so happy to tell you about our sponsor, Delete Me. Delete Me helps keep your personal info private. I use Delete Me, and honestly, it's crazy what I found. They found 1,047 data brokers with my personal information and very quickly removed my data from 215 total listings. Doing that myself would have taken me a full 8-hour workday. And they're going to keep monitoring the sites for you to make sure your info doesn't end up back on there after the first removal. Using Delete Me has given me peace of mind about my family too, because if someone buys your data via a data broker, they can see info about your relatives too. So right now, you can get 20% off Delete Me and protect your personal data. Go to joindeleteme.com/investigates and use the promo code investigates at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/investigates, promo code investigates.
7 years earlier, a similar crime took place in DeKalb County. A 35-year-old woman named Shawndell McLeod vanished after ending a relationship she also called abusive. When McLeod didn't show up for work one morning in September 2011, her mom called the police to report her missing. From the start, people close to McLeod assumed her ex-girlfriend had something to do with it. Her ex was Joyce Pelzer, who by that time was already dating Rosalyn Lewis. Police interviewed Pelzer, who told investigators she was at work on the day that McLeod disappeared. But according to her boss, Pelzer never showed up for her shift. Pelzer later claimed that she had spent the entire day with her new girlfriend, but detectives and McLeod's loved ones remained suspicious, especially considering the couple's tumultuous past. Pelzer had an outstanding warrant for her arrest after threatening McLeod with a knife in July 2011, about 2 months before McLeod vanished. Then, in August 2011, McLeod told police that Pelzer trespassed into her home and stole her furniture. Following her disappearance, McLeod's car was found, abandoned, damaged, and covered in mud, but that was it in the way of physical evidence, and the case went cold. That is, until August 2018, when police received a tip that Joyce Pelzer had admitted to killing McLeod. Then Rosalyn Lewis came into the station to make her own report, and she mentioned McLeod too.
At the end of the day, I have too much other going on than to deal with some behind that I left you. Get over it at this point. Really get over it.
So the detective, what
yes.
prompted you to call a detective in Atlanta?
She has some legal issues going on in Atlanta with a missing person from some years ago. And in talking to my wife's ex-girlfriend, it is her ex-girlfriend, she told me that the detective had reached out to her and she had talked to him, and I was like, do you have his number? Because I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Because I know the girl that's missing had a restraining order on Joyce. So I wanted to call him and say, hey, what steps do I need to take to get another restraining order? And this is what's going on, because I don't know what the hell happened with the woman. I have no clue. Lord knows, I hope she's okay. But at this point, I don't know, because that's been 6-7 years ago, I guess. I'm not even sure how long it's been, but it's been a minute.
3 months later, the tipster called again to report Pelzer's alleged plan to kill Rosalyn Lewis. So when Lewis is found brutally stabbed just a few days later, police all over the state of Georgia are narrowing in on Joyce Marie Pelzer. And this time, they're going to find her while the case is hot. At 3:15 p.m., about 5 hours after the attack at the motel, a state trooper in Crisp County, Georgia, spots a black Nissan headed southbound on I-75. When he attempts to stop the vehicle, the driver challenges him to a high-speed chase. Then, just when it looks like Pelzer is finally within reach, she tries to take off again. There's no way out now. Police have Pelzer cornered. But they quickly learn that a knife isn't her only weapon of choice. Pelzer appears to have a loaded gun in the vehicle and fires the first shot in what turns into a highway shootout. Pelzer is wounded by one of the officers on scene, and despite her attempt on their lives, one officer rushes to render her aid until the ambulance arrives. Pelzer is airlifted to a hospital in Cordele, Georgia, before being transported again to the Navicent Health Center in Macon, Georgia.
It's okay, Joyce.
That's where investigators meet her, hooked up to tubes and IVs. Pelzer doesn't have the chance to recover in privacy. Officers wait in the hospital room with her for days, collecting blood, swabs of saliva, and photographing her injuries. Investigators have confirmed that Lewis had walked into Pelzer's motel room that morning and never walked out. Evidence found in room 114, like dog food and the camouflage jacket Pelzer is seen wearing in security footage, confirm that Joyce Pelzer was staying there. Investigators just need to know why. They also want to talk to Pelzer about another case, Shawndell McLeod's disappearance 7 years earlier. But given her injuries, 2 gunshot wounds to the head and several lacerations from the vehicle crash, they'll have to wait until she's healed enough to have a conversation. A few days of recovery is all she gets before she trades her hospital gown for an orange jumpsuit.
Do I sound normal?
Yeah, I think so.
I sound like a robot.
That's okay. Why you got a tear coming down your face? Are your eyes hurting at all?
Huh?
Your eyes hurting at all? Can you see me okay?
They doing what?
Lewis insists she's unable to hear or see properly, but for now, the investigator isn't giving up.
Huh?
Do you understand where you are now?
I don't know what you said.
Okay.
Who are you?
So I'm Sergeant Lucas. I work with Conyers Police Department. Do you know what your warrants are?
Do I know what is on?
What the warrants are for?
No. How many of them?
You got 2. You got 2 warrants.
2 warrants?
Yes. One for aggravated assault.
Okay.
And one for murder.
And murder for who?
I think you know who.
Who?
But I need you to let me know if you want to talk.
Then, suddenly, Lewis's condition seems to improve, and she appears far more capable of speaking with the detective.
I gave you time.
I think I need to get an attorney. You talking about murder? I ain't killed nobody.
Except she isn't willing to. But that's okay, because other people close to Rosalyn Lewis are.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think happened.
Okay.
Last week, she called Rosalyn. Rosalyn had been ignoring her phone calls. Joy had gotten real aggressive with the call, so she answered. And she said, "What is it, Joy?" She said, "I'm happy. And you have some, well, you're happy and you have someone. I'm happy and I have someone." That's the only thing that I can see set Joy off, because her response to Rosalyn is that I'm going to kill both of you.
And the more people they talk to in Lewis's circle, the more investigators learn about why Lewis and Pelzer would have been together at all that day.
So as far as y'all were aware, she was not communicating with Joy?
She was talking to Joy, but it depends on who you may ask. She would not always be open saying that she's talking to Joy.
Yeah.
But we all know that.
Whether it was just texting or whatever.
Knowing that Lewis and Pelzer were still in contact helps investigators understand why Lewis might have gone to Motel Room 114. But maybe she didn't go just to talk. According to Lewis's new girlfriend, there might have been another reason for her to see Pelzer face to face.
She was scared to death of her. When Roz came back from New Orleans, she was in a hotel and we were talking, and she said, babe, I gotta go meet her at some point to serve her papers. I said, babe, you don't have to serve her papers. The lawyers can do that. And she had already told me she was scared to death of her. And she told me, what the things that she's capable of doing. And I told her, I said, I don't think it's a good idea.
The things she was capable of doing. Now that piques detectives' interest, because Lewis's death isn't the only case they're curious about. They want to know about Shawndell McLeod's disappearance, too.
I said because all of the evidence, they didn't have a body, but I just questioned how someone goes missing 2 days after you file a protective order.
Everyone has a theory about what happened to McLeod, and some wonder if maybe Lewis's death was somehow connected. Maybe she knew more than she let on.
Why? I think, and I won't tell the family, but I think she probably knew what happened. I said that too. I think that's the only way, and that's the only person who could, Because when the girl was missing, her and Roz was together. They was together.
That's exactly what Pelzer would later claim about her ex-girlfriend Shawndell McLeod's 2011 disappearance, that it wasn't her who got rid of McLeod, but her then-girlfriend, Rosalyn Lewis. But Lewis's family and investigators aren't buying it, especially because recently Pelzer had made a strange, sudden move, all the way from Atlanta to North Dakota.
Why would she leave Atlanta to go to North Dakota to work? Nothing was adding up to what she was telling me. Right. North Dakota? There's nothing in North Dakota. And if she's running from Detective, she can hang it up because the man has said he is going to have her behind bars if that's the last thing he'd do.
Well, he's convinced that the reason she moved to North Dakota was to get far away from him. I don't know if that's true or not.
I'm convinced if that's what she did.
Okay.
Because why else?
It seems like a strange move to me, for sure.
North Dakota. And then why did you come back? I still don't understand what brought her back.
I've gotten the impression, but I'd like to hear you say it. Do you think that Joyce had something to do with the investigation that is conducting?
Oh, I am willing to put my head on the chopping board. I have tried to do my own personal investigation. My mama told me to leave it alone. But it's just something, and I'm going to be honest. I've asked Rosalyn because I don't understand what's holding you there. Do you know something? Did she say something? Something is not right about this whole story.
Pelzer's new girlfriend, the one who called police in August 2018 to tell them Pelzer confessed to killing McLeod, also believed that Lewis was involved in McLeod's disappearance. She told investigators that Lewis hired a hitman to kill McLeod, and Pelzer had planned the murder for months.
I don't know what how she's tied to this, but I'm almost willing to bet she's tied to this.
Outside of Pelzer's allegations, there's no evidence that Lewis had anything to do with McLeod's disappearance. But the deeper investigators dig into this case, the more they believe they finally have enough evidence to tie Pelzer to McLeod's case definitively. In 2021, Pelzer is sentenced to life in prison for the stabbing and murder of Rosalyn Lewis. 2 years later, she returns to the courtroom for the trial related to Shawndell McLeod's disappearance and death. Pelzer admits that she helped bury McLeod, but claims that it was Rosalyn Lewis who orchestrated and executed her murder. At trial, Pelzer's defense states there is insufficient evidence to convict her, but a jury disagrees. On December 1st, 2023, more than a decade after McLeod vanished from her home, Joyce Marie Pelzer is found guilty on the charges of malice murder and felony murder. She's serving a life sentence and will never see the outside of a cell.